In the previous chapter, Yeonju wanted the card because it was important. She said she needed it right away. Kang-woo knew what was on it and got nervous. He didn't want to give it to Yeonju, but she kept asking. Finally, he gave it to her, blushing. He's going to be caught on camera. In his head, he knew Choi Yeonju wasn't really talking about what he had just seen. He was sure there was more to it. Yeonju finished making the card and looked at Kang-woo. Also, quick reminder as we are going through the recap, if you are new to the channel, some of you watching are not already subscribed, and if that's you, and you want to guarantee you're always up to date with all good content like this, so feel free to hit that subscribe button and join us on the road to 1,000,000 subs. She invited Kang-woo to watch it with her because it was something he would eventually need to know. At that moment, Kang-woo felt a sensation he hadn't experienced in his 10,000 years of life. Bro turned into a JoJo character. In his mind, regardless of the secret it held, the situation had become somewhat complicated. Oblivious to this, Yeonju asked Choi Yeon about their agent's condition, only to receive confirmation of his passing. Choi Yeon closed the man's lifeless eyes and questioned Kang-woo about what had transpired. However, Kang-woo himself was uncertain about what had just happened. Recapping the events, Kang-woo remembered that as soon as he received the memory card, masked cultists from the demonic order started attacking him. Apart from that, his involvement in this incident had been nothing more than a coincidence. While Choi Yeon was about to invite Kang-woo to watch the video together, Yeonju was already blushing in embarrassment, staring at her phone's screen. She screamed at Kang-woo for letting her watch the file, accusing him of switching the files. Kang-woo meekly responded that he had indeed given her the original card. Meanwhile, Choi Yeon calmly watched the clip and concluded that it was a fake video. The real content could only be revealed through video decryption of the headquarters. Yeonju was furious to be subjected to such a deceptive cover-up. Choi Yeon explained that using such videos for cover-ups made sense. Even the headquarters recommended this approach. They even used animal documentaries, but adult videos had the best effect. Finally understanding the situation, Kang-woo realized that the original video was connected to the demonic order and Yeonju and Choi Yeon were supposed to receive it. However, something had gone wrong. Yeonju directed her anger towards Kang-woo for not saying anything despite having watched it before her. He reasoned that Yeonju had been too eager to use the video right away. The tiny echidna jumped into action, stuttering in her words as she tried to save Kang-woo from Yeonju's bullying. She's a good dragon. Kang-woo introduced the angry echidna as his familiar, whom he had mentioned to Yeonju before. Yeonju couldn't help but notice that Kang-woo's looked just like a kid. In her mind, Kang-woo's familiar should be a crazy-looking beast that matched his style. Interrupting them, Choi Yeon stated that they needed to check the video at the headquarters as soon as possible. So, they headed to the Suwon Station Hwarang Court headquarters to decrypt the video. Choi Yeon quickly took charge of her soldiers, receiving a rundown of the day's incidents, or rather, the lack thereof. She took the stage and announced that Agent Kang Dong-hoon had passed away in the line of duty, shocking the battalion. She swiftly followed up with an inspiring speech, ensuring that the agent's death had not been in vain. She efficiently delegated all the necessary tasks without any fuss. Kang-woo couldn't help but think that Baek Young was truly born to be a soldier. She ordered the decoding of the fake video and the preparation of an investigation room. The soldiers promptly followed her instructions. Additionally, she requested an immediate conversation with someone known as General Chang Yun-yi. Unfortunately, the general was currently on an overseas trip in Japan, investigating an SS-ranked gate. General Chang Yun-yi was Baek Young's superior, and the highest authority in Hwarang First Course. It was said that he was so powerful that no one in the nation, apart from the number one Baek Kang Yeon, could face him. Young believed that if the general were present, the agent's life might have been saved. With everything taken care of, they headed to the investigation room as Young dismissed for soldiers. The real video from the memory card was now being projected and watched by everyone in the investigation room. The cardinal could be seen approached by a cultist. Apparently, the preparations for the summoning were almost complete. If they acted quickly, they would finish within 3 weeks. The cardinal was pleased with how smoothly things were going and asked if they had received any sponsorships this time. Imagine if they were sponsored by Burger King or something. The follower confirmed that a big guild had just provided them with B-rank sacrifices. He continued, saying that it wouldn't be long until their wishes were fulfilled. If they succeeded this time, the order would surely reward them with something even greater. However, the cardinal halted the members' elation, stating that this was merely the first step and slacking off with small accomplishments was forbidden. They still had a long way to go, and they couldn't achieve anything with such a mindset. This cardinal needs to learn how to chill out. The member felt his needs to apologize and vow to correct his mistakes. They needed to remain silent until all the preparations were complete. There was nothing worse than letting unsubstantial words cloud their minds. With their business concluded, the cardinal suddenly looked directly at the camera. He knew there was a rat in the room. That's where the real video clip on the memory card ended. Straight out of a horror movie, Kang-woo was now certain that this crimson-masked man was recruiting players for the demonic order. Being a cardinal, he was sure that there was more than of them based on their operations. They also mentioned the summoning and a big guild. Kang-woo deduced 3 things from the video. Firstly, there was undoubtedly someone with greater authority than the cardinal with the star-studded crimson mask. Secondly, they were preparing to summon something on Earth. And lastly, a big guild was sponsoring their operation. He voiced the necessity to investigate the big guilds immediately. Since they had caught the spy, they would do anything to remain under the radar and hide their plans for the summoning. Investigating the main order would be extremely difficult. Their only option was to find out which big guild was sponsoring them. The Red Rose Guild was exempt from this investigation, as they were leading it with the government. Hwam praised Kang-woo for his sharp wit, and Kang-woo was already starting to let it get to his head. However, investigating the big guilds would be challenging, as even the government would struggle to scrutinize these massive entities. Using force to investigate them would undoubtedly cause unnecessary friction. But Kang-woo knew there was a way. When asked what it was, Kang-woo simply answered that they could bait them. The classic gamer moves. Kang-woo suggested that the order targeted players with high ranks as offerings. Yeonju interjected, mentioning that she had lost many rookies in her guild for that reason. Kang-woo promptly apologized for touching on a sensitive topic, but they continued. He proposed that the focus of the plan should be the rookies, players who were low level but possessed high-rank special abilities. Recently, there had been more chaos players, and missing person cases had also spiked. The plan was to start a rumor that there was a talented player in a low-ranked gate. They could even manipulate the rumor to say that the rookie was S rank or higher, or they could use the name of the Red Rose Guild, claiming they were trying to recruit this promising player. The order would be afraid of losing such a player, and would act immediately. Hwam praised the idea but expressed concern that the order might play it bait after being infiltrated by a spy. Kang-woo confidently stated that they would still move. When asked how he knew, he simply responded that it was because they were the demonic order. He knew all too well that these people couldn't control their hunger for power. Speaking from experience, he continued that the closer these people got to becoming a demon, the hungrier they became for power. There was no way they could resist temptation. And even if the order turned out to be cautious, they wouldn't be able to completely cover their tracks. Both Hwam and Yeonju became convinced by Kang-woo's plan. And the only question on their minds was who they would use as bait, as every promising rookie they knew was already quite famous or part of a big guild. Yeonju protested that she wouldn't risk another one of her members for this. She had no intention of sending her guild members unless it was for direct battle. Kang-woo agreed, as they needed to preserve their combat power. Regarding the bait, Kang-woo already had someone in his twisted mind who was perfect for the role. Is he thinking about what we're thinking about? We see a familiar young man walking down the street in the middle of the night. When he arrives home, he finds his sickly mother lying on a floor bed in a tiny place. His eyes shone with a mixture of hate and determination. It was Kim Se-hoon. Ain't no way he's using the hero as bait. The morning sun lights up a small room where Kim Se-hoon's sickly mother lies down and rests. Se-hoon has been diligently checking in and taking care of his sick mother whenever he can. Outside of this tiny place, a voice can be heard from a distance. It was Kang-woo, sneaking around from the top of a different house, spying with his telescope. The fully committed spy, Kang-woo, couldn't help but be touched by what he's seeing. He has followed and observed Kim Se-hoon nursing his sick mother every night. He's convinced that this guy should really be the main character. He's just the perfect hero for real. Their plan has been going better than expected. The videos they've been spreading have garnered massive amounts of attention. It has been a week since they started the bait plan, and the rumors about Kim Se-hoon have been spreading like wildfire. It's not an immediate attention grabber, but it's gaining traction at a decent speed. You people on the street are spreading it through word of mouth. The only one on their side who can manipulate the public to this extent is none other than the guy he has seen in the Red Rose Guild before. The team leader of the personnel management team, the sly Park Yeonwoo. This guy is the one controlling your TikTok page. Lee Hwam is too straightforward and Cha Yeonju would just give orders. Park Yeonwoo is the brains of the operation. Suddenly, Kim Se-hoon got out of the house and started moving. It's time for Kang-woo to get moving alongside him too. At the Mokdong C-ranked gate, Kangwoo's rookie party has enthusiastically gathered around to prepare for their hunt. Among the bustling player crowd, a suspicious figure wearing a heavy helmet can be lurking around. That's a Dark Soul's armor. Sola seems to be down in the dumps, worrying the whole party. It turns out that Kangwoo hasn't come home in over a week. They've been in contact with each other, texting and calling, but he always seems to be out somewhere doing God knows what. The party tried to cheer up their healer. They know that if it's Kangwoo, he must have his reasons for this absence. Since it's been a week, he might be coming home soon. Sola worries that he might just be sick of the food she cooks for him. The gloomy Sola tried to rack her brain if that was the reason Kangwoo doesn't want to go home anymore. She even seriously entertained the idea that maybe he's found another girl. Yunbai reassured her that cannot be the case. If anything, it might be opposite reason. She continued that Kangwoo is in the prime of his youth. Perhaps he finds it hard to suppress himself when he's under the same roof as the beautiful Sola. Steven stepped up and intervened in the conversation before it gets any wilder. He explained that unlike them, Kangwoo is a high-ranking player and he has his reasons. He reassured Sola that he understands her anxiety, but the only thing they can do right now is to train harder and become stronger so they can join Kangwoo. This sentiment lifted Sola's spirits once again as she steels herself to do her best in leveling up. With newfound determination, the party headed into the C-rank gate, the suspicious party that's already clearing C-rank gates. Everyone has already had their third awakenings. Though it isn't quite up to his standards, it's still a magnificent pace. With a pained expression, he lamented not seeing Sola for a whole week now. It can't be helped because of his work, but to see her down in the dumps hurts his heart. And it's not just Sola. Echidna has also been staying in the apartment, being taken care of by Sola's mother. She's having an even harder time as she's dependent on Kangwoo. Go home to your kid, bro. He hasn't been eating or sleeping properly. All he wants is for this mission to be over. Inside the gate, a menacing troll is brandishing its club towards a massive shield. The shield-bearing Tisu tank the club's swing effectively. The troll might be ridiculously strong, but all he must do is fulfill his role. He lifted his shield and struck down on the ground. A quake was generated that staggered Troll on its feet. Sivam took this opportunity to charge in and do his thing. Sola casted a perfectly timed boost to the charging swordsman as Sihun activated his spell. A phantom of a ferocious blue dragon manifested in his blade as he cut down the staggered troll. This was his hidden dragon sword technique chapter 2, the Flying Dragon Strike 1. This guy has the Bible of dragon sword techniques. The troll survived but was heavily wounded as it
Oh God! Oh God!
tried to grab Sihun with its last ounce of life. That's when Yunbai swiftly finished the job with a vicious lightning spear spell. The troll let out its death roar as it fell completely lifeless. They gathered around the troll's corpse to make sure it was eliminated. Yunbai cautiously warned the party that they can never let their guards down, even if they're only fighting a single monster. Back when they were hunting lizardmen, they could take on 5 at a time with no problem at all. But when it comes to they can't believe that Kamu hunts these monsters by himself. Sometimes we forget that Kamu is just built different. Sivam reminded them that it's only been a month since they started and they've already come a long way. Tisu praised Sihun for being the linchpin of their progress. He had no idea that this young man would become such an important cornerstone for their party. Yunbai even remarked that he looks like a Shaolin protagonist. With that, they collected the monster's magic stone and started moving once again. They even harvested the troll's blood to sell his recovery potion and ingredients. Kamu was spying on the party from a distance all along. He watched them hunt like a proud father as they have come a long way since last time. Thanks to his instructions, their movements became more precise and their plays were flawless. The party members can now recognize their roles and move accordingly. Tisu effectively tanks and dishes out crowd control. Sikkim is a ferocious damage dealer as always. Sola not only heals effectively but also buffs, and Yunbai is an efficient assistant damage dealer and protector. Kamu thinks that he doesn't even need to help them nowadays. The party even caught on to the rumors that Sifam has been becoming quite a celebrity recently. Kamu stood up as he knows that the plan is about to start anytime now. It's already been a whole week. He doesn't believe that the order will leave Sifam alone like this. But Kamu was also starting to doubt that maybe they're too cautious to make a move. But deep in his heart, he knows the greed from his time at Hell. They would not be able to resist this bait that Kamu has been nurturing. With that in mind, he decided to look for them himself. He activated the authority of observation throughout the whole desert. He has a gut feeling that the order is coming. That's when he scouted 2 players plowing through hordes of trolls like nothing. Their levels are high enough to instantly slay trolls, and yet they're not even collecting magic stones. The nail in the coffin is that they're heading in Sikkim's direction. Kamu rejoices finally. They have taken the bait. Time to reel in his week-long fishing trip. Another hapless troll succumbed to the relentless onslaught of the party. Tae-soo showered Sifum with praise for successfully completing the task without Yunbai's assistance this time. In a playful banter, Yunbai jokingly speculated that she might lose her job at this rate. Amid their high-speed spirits, Steven's attention was drawn to something as he urgently warned Sola about a troll lurking just a few meters behind her. Swiftly assuming battle formation, they braced themselves as the troll charged toward them. However, their attack strategy was abruptly interrupted when the troll was swiftly cleaved in half before their eyes. Suddenly, an arrogant voice pierced through the air, and Si-hun recognized it all too well. It belonged to Kim Young-hun, accompanied by his imposing bodyguard. The party instantly recognized the man before them as the vice-guild leader of the esteemed Mir Guild, one of the top 5 guilds in the nation. He was none other than the privileged son of Kim Yi-hyun, the owner of Mir Electronics, a man who had been born with the shiniest silver spoon in South Korea. As a player, Kim Young-hun possessed average talent, unlike his father, who was a top ranker. However, leveraging his father's wealth and influence, he managed to surpass others. He's a pay-to-win whale in a free-to-play game. When Si-hun inquired about the reason for Young-hun's presence, his brother casually replied that he was there for hunting. The tension between them was palpable, and the party could sense the malevolence lingering in their words. To the party's astonishment, Young-hun revealed that they were, in fact, brothers. Yet, he couldn't help but wear a smug grin as he emphasized that their brotherhood was far from ordinary, given Si-hun's supposedly cheap bloodline. Si-hun's anger surged, prompting him to draw his sword and curse his repulsive brother. Young-hun goaded him, encouraging him to strike if he dared. Young-hun mentioned the rumors surrounding Si-hun's recent awakening of his supposed S-rank ability. He expressed surprise at his brother's unexpected rise in rank. When Si-hun questioned his brother's connection to the rumor, the answer he received was horrifying. Young-hun revealed his intention to use Si-hun as a sacrificial offering, along with the rest of the party, who he deemed to be decent. He reveled in the fact that he had stumbled upon a gold mine of sacrifices. The party was unsettled as they pieced together the puzzle. Young-hun was a chaos player. Tae-soo immediately urged Sola to position herself behind him, and she quickly complied. Young-hun fixated his gaze on the beautiful Sola, asserting that she wouldn't be used as an offering. As he licked his lips, his mind filled with other sinister plans. This man needs to be locked up or sent to hell. His final provocation the edge, and he unsheathed his sword to confront his detestable brother. However, Young-hun effortlessly squatted him away with his own blade, as if it were child's play. Si-hun recoiled, suspicious of the impossibility of Young-hun's counterattack at such close range despite the level gap between them. Instructing his bodyguard to stand down, Young-hun activated the absolute defensive mode. He charged at his brother like a wild hyena, laughing and taunting Si-hun for his earlier overconfidence. Now, raining down blows, Young-hun forced Si-hun into retreat, going to him to attack once more. It was in that moment that Si-hun successfully parried a single strike and wasted no time launching a counterattack. With a swift slash, Si-hun's blade descended, but took his astonishment. Young-hun once again countered at unimaginable speed in such close proximity. Young-hun struck Si-hun with a powerful kick to the stomach, sending him hurtling toward the rocky terrain of the desert. Through this exchange, Si-hun finally comprehended the truth. The sword technique was not Young-hun's doing. It was the sword itself, moving him instead of the other way around. He's so rich that he has literal cheat codes turned on. Kim Young-hun's special equipment, the absolute defensive system, was a technological marvel incorporating all the expertise and resources of Mir Electronics. It detected opponents' movements and automatically defended its user. This dude got AI installed in his equipment. Young-hun continued his berating, asserting that vermin should behave as such, and he wanted Si-hun to crawl on the ground. Raising his sword, he prepared to incapacitate his wounded brother. However, his strike was intercepted by Tae-soo's trusty shield as the dependable tank swiftly came to Si-hun's aid. Young-hun scorned the trembling Tae-soo for daring to face him with inferior equipment. Unaware of the true relationship between the two brothers, Tae-soo vowed that as long as he was alive and breathing, Young-hun wouldn't have free rein to do as he pleased. Bolstered by his determination, Tae-soo charged forward with his shield, forcefully bulldozing Young-hun in front of him. Pushing himself to his physical limits, he soon realized that there was no response from his opponent. Young-hun arrogantly questioned Tae-soo's actions while an impenetrable shield enveloped his entire body. He belittled Tae-soo for confronting him with such inferior equipment. Su was no match against the shield from Young Hun's absolute defense suit type ability. In response to Su's charge, Young Hun activated another ability of his suit. Demonic energy surged forth, causing a brilliant light to scatter in every direction as the ironclad giant was sent hurtling into the air. Young Hun remarked that he would have dealt with Su eventually, had he not interfered while he was dealing with his little brother. As he voiced his sentiment, Young Hun's gaze shifted forward and he was taken aback by what he saw. Si-hun was already preparing his next strike, gathering unique energy into his blade, while Xiao devoted herself to buffing Si-hun with all her might. Finally, the hero unleashed his ability, the Hidden Dragon's Sword Technique Chapter 5, Advent of the Wind Dragon. A resplendent phantom of a divine beast materialized within the strike as Si-hun poured every ounce of his being into it. Prepare to tank a literal dragon, rich boy. As the Wind Dragon's advent was released by Si-hun, his brother couldn't help but feel dread. Young Hun swiftly raised his sword, activating the absolute defensive system. The clash of unstoppable offense and absolute defense was a sight to behold. With a heroic surge of strength, the young man unleashed a powerful slash, while his older brother fought with all his might to defend against the formidable strike. In a sudden turn of events, Si-hun managed to slip through the impenetrable absolute defensive system. Panicked, Si-hun brought down his sword, gasping for breath, struggling to hold his blade upright. Si-hun's attack left Young Hun unscathed. He had activated his absolute defensive suit just in time, nullifying his brother's all-out slash. Mocking Si-hun for having inferior blood, Young Hun kicked the unconscious Su lying motionless beside him. Despite the circumstances, he begrudgingly admired his brother's unwavering determination. Memories flooded Young Hun's mind of their days in school, where Si-hun excelled academically, athletically, and in every physical aspect. No matter how much effort Young Hun exerted, he could never catch up to his brother's abilities. This dude lived on the shadow of his younger brother. He clearly didn't win the genetic lottery. Now, even as a player, Si-hun surpassed him with regards to raw talent. Lifting his sword, Young Hun tried to convince himself that these things didn't truly matter. Pointing his blade at his brother, he declared that as long as he possessed enough power and wealth to control others, Si-hun's talent meant nothing. He could always trample him. No need to get stronger if you can always make it rain. With that resolved, Young Hun activated one of his system's abilities. The replication process commenced, completing the copy of Si-hun's Hidden Dragon Sword Technique Chapter 5, The Advent of the Wind Dragon. A manic laugh escaped his lips as he charged at his brother, intending to kill him with Si-hun's own skill. Oh no, his AI did not pass the plagiarism check at all. Exhausted, Si-hun raised his blade defensively, realizing he couldn't withstand this type of attack in his current state. The sheer force of the imitated abilities sent him flying, crashing against the rocky terrain with a resounding impact. Concerned party members urgently called out to their swordsmen, while Young Hun reveled in the damage he had inflicted. Young Hun gloated, asserting that this was Si-hun's limit, the difference in power between them. Solar rushed to assist the unconscious Si-hun, casting a healing spell. Yubai joined the fray, preparing a lightning spell in case Young Hun attacked again. The lightning spear descended, but it failed to crack Young Hun's seemingly impenetrable bubble shield from the absolute defensive system. He delighted in seeing his brother lying unconscious amidst the debris. He firmly believed that regardless of Si-hun's struggles and efforts, certain things in the world could never be surpassed. This man is too confident with his money. In this dire situation, Sala couldn't fully heal Si-hun, so she provided him with first aid instead. Urging him to rise quickly, she offered support to Yubai. Si-hun's mind raced with thoughts. Though he had managed to survive, he felt utterly drained, wondering if this was truly the end for him. Yubai and Sala continued their futile attempts to deter the impervious Young Hun, while Si-hun pondered his near-death experience. He vowed to avenge the scoundrels who had abandoned him and his mother, but now he couldn't even protect the people who had become precious to him, let alone pursue his revenge. He blamed himself for being too weak, lacking power time and time again. Then something awakened within him, a voice asking if he desired strength. "Get that power up, son." From a distance, a hooded figure observed the ongoing battle. Kang Wu himself. He had spotted the party's opponent, confirming that this was the person the Mere Guild had told him about. The guild associated with the demonic order was, indeed, the Mere Guild. His week-long mission was finally unfolding. Kang Wu hadn't expected Si-hun and Young Hun to be related, let alone brothers. However, he did recall their striking resemblance. He could hardly believe that his subordinate was the son of a concubine of the Mere Guild leader. MCs always have an interesting background. Having just finished contacting the necessary people for his plan, Kang Wu prepared to take action. However, he was taken aback by the unfolding scene on the battlefield. Si-hun emanated a mysterious energy as he fervently shouted his desire for strength to defeat his enemies, raising his sword high. A colossal phantom dragon materialized behind him. This was the strength to protect those dear to him. Kang Woo was dumbfounded witnessing this development, reading the notifications about his subordinate's power-up. Kim Si-hun had embraced the power of the heavenly god, acquiring a significant boost in response to the dire circumstances. This only strengthened Kang Woo's conviction his subordinate should just become the main character of this story. Your mark's subordinate is upstaging you, bro. Empowered, Si-hun charged at his brother with unwavering might with a massive dragon phantom emerging behind him. Young Hun struggled to defend himself, unable to withstand his brother's relentless and ferocious attacks. It was as if Si-hun was a rampaging dragon himself, losing all control and driven solely by the desire to annihilate his opponent. His strikes were so powerful that they both soared into the sky from the sheer impact alone. Young Hun refused to believe that his supposedly lower-level brother could overpower him with such fervor and intensity. Si-hun's blade managed to penetrate through Young Hun's once impenetrable defense, causing blood to splatter from his shoulder. For the first time in this battle, genuine dread gripped him. Rich Boy got rattled as soon as he sees first blood. His cherished absolute defensive system had unexpectedly been breached. Clinging to disbelief, he activated the Hidden Dragon Sword Technique Chapter 5, Advent of the Wind Dragon once more. Si-hun responded promptly with his newly acquired ability, the Cloud Dragon Sword Technique Chapter 3, Cloud Dragon's Rampant Dance. He became a dragon incarnate as he ceaselessly attacked his brother. The clash of replicated and newly acquired skills reverberated. Si-hun's relentless assault began to slowly overwhelm his brother. Young Hun gradually realized he was being pushed to the back foot with each exchange of blows. While he possessed superior strength and speed on paper, he couldn't keep up with the unstoppable and lightning-fast onslaught. As another critical strike nearly decided the battle, he contemplated his options. Another wound opened on his other shoulder as his sword strike pierced absolute defense once again. You must change the name of your equipment at this point, bro. Realizing his injuries were mounting rapidly, Young Hun knew he had to create distance from the rampaging hero. Sensing his brother's vulnerability, Si-hun aimed to finish the job then and there. A fatal slash came dangerously close to Young Hun's face as he failed to activate his defenses in time. For a moment, he accepted his impending defeat. But to his surprise, his imposing bodyguard intervened, wielding a massive mechanical axe to block Si-hun's seemingly final strike. Tag teams in a 1 versus 1. That's a violation. With a powerful counterattack, the bodyguard sent Si-hun hurtling away. Instead of showing gratitude, Young Hun reprimanded his loyal protector, Chun Myung-ho, for not intervening sooner. Si-hun suffered a critical hit, sustaining a severe internal injury. Overexerting himself with his newfound power earlier had taken its toll. As he gazed at the towering figure of Chun Myung-ho, he contemplated whether he could stand up to him. Approaching with confidence, Myung-ho coerced Si-hun into admitting that he would never surpass the Vice Guild Master. He issued a threat that if Si-hun followed them without resistance, the situation would end with him losing only one arm. Kang Woo will probably give you his middle finger for threatening his subordinate's arm. Si-hun responded with hostility to such a ridiculous threat, but it only resulted in another heavy strike to his chest. Myung-ho pummeled the young man with his mechanical axe, exerting all his weight and force, savagely bringing Si-hun to the ground. The loyal guard's goal was to make him submit and admit his inferiority to the Vice Guild Master. That's Employee of the Month material right there. Si-hun endured the beating as his body began to give up on him. He had no strength left in his battered and bruised frame. Lying motionless on the floor, he felt the imposing guard raise his mechanical axe once more. The guard declared that the weak only have the right to suffer. Hearing these words, Si-hun's past flashed in his mind. He had denied this truth for far too long. He thought back to the night when his mother apologized for giving birth to him, tears streaming down her face outside the luxurious home of the My-Year patriarch. Even as a young child, he never wanted to see his beloved mother humiliate herself like that. Instead, he wished to express his gratitude. Was submitting the My-Year Guild Leader for Worst Dad Award category. But ultimately, he couldn't defy his fate. Tears welled up in his eyes as he accepted his destiny of defeat. All he could do was apologize to everyone for dragging them into his mess and for failing to protect them, just as his mother had done on that miserable night. The rest of the party also struggled to hold on. Ti-su remained unconscious while Xiao-ah desperately tried to heal him. Yunbai had run out of mana and couldn't land a single on the enemies. Just as Myung-ho raised his axe to end the battle, and as Si-hun resigned himself to his fate, a familiar carefree voice echoed across the battlefield. Let him cook, just let him cook. Kang Woo emerged, wielding his blade, effortlessly blocking and chipping away at Myung-ho's mechanical axe. He echoed Myung-ho's earlier sentiment, acknowledging that the weak have the right to suffer. Kang Woo agreed with this sentiment wholeheartedly. Parrying the giant axe, he responded with a wide swing kick, sending the guard flying like a ragdoll. He proclaimed that from now on, he wouldn't allow them to experience their rights to the fullest. Kang Woo was a big supporter of inhumane rights. The hero, on the brink of losing consciousness, couldn't help but wonder how Kang Woo had arrived at that exact moment. Aware that he couldn't reveal the truth about monitoring the situation until the demonic order attempted to capture him, Kang Woo coolly replied that he would explain later. Immediately, he ordered the entire party to take the injured members to safety and provide treatment. The loyal guard, now back on his feet, questioned Kang Woo if he was with the Hwarang Corps. Kang Woo casually retorted that he wouldn't have come alone if he were from the Hwarang Corps. Growing tired of the small talk, Kang Woo gestured for the guard to cease his chatter and engage in battle. Myung-ho, once indifferent, was incensed by Kang Woo's disregard for him. He activated the energy surrounding his mechanical axe, striking towards Kang Woo, calling out his arrogance. However, Kang Woo's response was brief. The guard couldn't believe his eyes and what he witnessed. Kang Woo smiled brightly as he gripped the blade of the formidable axe with such force that it crumpled like paper. He repeated that the only right the weak have is to suffer. The giant exerted all of his strength on the axe, but he couldn't budge Kang Woo's hand an inch. He could only wonder who this devilishly powerful figure before him truly was. Myung-hoon emerged from behind a rock, no longer hiding. He ordered his loyal subordinate to activate the demonic energy. Hesitant for a moment, the guard realized that he might truly die in this battle if he didn't give it his all. The bratty vice guild leader made it clear that this was an absolute order. He dropped his axe, accepting the command of the calm expression, displaying his loyalty as his subordinate. Respect to the loyalty, you just got unlucky with the wrong boss, brother. Demonic energy poured out of his massive body. Kang Woo found amusement witnessing the guard's transformation into something grotesque. With 2 horns, sharp teeth, and flesh wings, the guard fully embraced his demonic form. Myung-hoon, twisted in his desires, laughed as when he became the only thing that mattered to him. He ordered the demonic Myung-ho to kill the man interfering with his plan, believing that he would always come out on top. Kang Woo recognized that the hideous creature before him resembled a demon more than anyone else he had seen transform. Activating the authority of Iron Wall concentrated in his fist, he added the authority of Thousand, releasing a concentrated accumulation of power with his armored punch to the mutilated monster's stomach. A single strike caved in and disrupted the insides of the demonic Myung-ho. The bratty vice guild leader watched the strike in horror, trembling and paling. The man before him seemed more like a demon than his own transformed subordinate lying lifeless on the ground. Another one-punch elimination. He's coming for Saitama's title. He couldn't help but think that Kang Woo might be a ranker. Fear consumed him, urging him to run away from such a terrifying opponent. He knew he needed to contact his father. Desperately running, his mind focused on one thing only.
Oh, hell no!
He retrieved a glowing communication orb and immediately contacted the mere guild leader. He's trying to get bailed out by Daddy once again. But the Demon King was already upon him. Fear gripped him as the man effortlessly appeared behind him.
Women.
Kang Woo forcefully pushed the pathetic young master to the ground, his face meeting the dirt. He swiftly stomped on the young master's head as the brat started to ask who he was. Kang Woo was tired of people asking that question every single time. Maybe you should wear a name tag from now on, bro. He questioned if this was what they taught in the demonic order. Calling out to the communication orb in Young-hoon's hand, Kang Woo knew the young master was contacting his father, Kim Yi-hyun. In that moment, as the brat stumbled over his words, trying to escape the situation, Kang Woo grimly reassured him that it was all right. He could contact his father as much as he wanted. In his dark office, the powerful Kim Yi-hyun accepted the call from the communication orb. He was met with an unfamiliar and upbeat voice, asking if he was the guardian of Kim Young-hoon when he inquired about the identity of the person on the other end. Kang Woo simply responded that he was the one holding his son hostage. Desperate pleas from his son could be heard in the background of the call. Realizing the seriousness of the situation, anger surged within him. Kang Woo continued to taunt the guild master while holding Young-hoon with the chains from the authority of restraint. He warned the guild master that his son's condition was dire. When asked for his demands, he replied that if the guild leader wanted to save his scoundrel of a son, he would have to come to the Mokdong C-ranked gate immediately. He just wants to get some face-to-face time. The leader asked if he had to come alone. Kang Wu laughed hysterically at the question. He knew people like the guild leader wouldn't come alone even if he demanded it. So, he urged him to stop plotting foolish schemes and come well prepared. The guild leader couldn't help but think that the man he was speaking to was insane. Kang Wu retorted that he was trying to be considerate, so that the guild leader could come at him however he wanted. In a fit of anger, the guild leader warned Kang Wu that he better not think he would survive after pulling such a stunt. Especially as a man affiliated with a group cooperating with the government, he boasted that he was the untouchable Kim Yi-hyun. Name-dropping yourself is so cringe, bro. Kang Wu responded that he had no ties to the government at all. When an increasingly furious Yi-hyun asked if Kang Wu was alone, he jokingly replied that he was currently single. Yi-hyun had reached limit with Kang Wu's taunting as he stood up in anger. It seemed like this guy had no idea who he was and how powerful he was. Daring to pull off a stunt like this, Kang Wu ridiculed the guild leader, mocking him for not meaning to know any of that. He turned the question around, asking Yi-hyun if he knew who he was. He taunted that if Yi-hyun didn't know who he was dealing with, then he needed a sense of reality beaten into him. Kang Wu cracked the communication orb by forcefully smashing it against the once arrogant Nam-hoon. The beaten and bloody young master couldn't help but cry at the misfortune that had befallen him. On the other end of the line, the livid guild leader had grown tired of Kang Wu's provocations. Kang Wu promptly gave him a 20-minute ultimatum to show up, warning him that if he failed to do so, he would leave it up to his imagination what consequences awaited him and his son. Unaware of Kang Wu's identity or his motives, the guild leader was past the point of being swayed by ransom attempts or disturbances. He sternly cautioned Kang Wu that it was too late for him. His imposing energy, coupled with his fury, permeated the air as he threatened to find and mercilessly eliminate Kang Wu. Smugly, Kang Wu wished him luck with his pursuit and abruptly ended the call by smashing Young Hoon's face, causing the communication orb to shatter completely. That's a brutal way to hang up the phone, man. With Kim Yi-hyun's side dealt with, Kang Wu could now move on to the next stage of his plan. The shivery and sniveling Vice Guild Master pleaded with Kang Wu to save him, promising to request any amount of money from his father on Kang Wu's behalf. Kang Wu disregarded the pathetic plea and dismissed the Vice Guild Master. While he appreciated money, it wasn't what he wanted at that moment. When pressed about his true desires, Kang Wu responded sincerely, expressing his wish for peace and prosperity for Earth and his beloved kimchi stew. Young Hoon, frustrated with Kang Wu's answer, demanded to know his true intentions. Kang Wu grew tired of Young Hoon's continuous bickering and stated that he needed to prepare for a meeting with his father. This statement sparked a glimmer of hope in his mind. Regardless of Kang Wu's motives, he believed that everything would be fine once he saw his father. Activating his demonic energy, Kang Wu expressed his delight at the father's love for his son. He unleashed the authority of fear, summoning the horrifying phantom from nightmares once again. He reveled in the ease with which he could manipulate people who loved others. Moments later, Kang Wu, accompanied by Young Hoon and his party members, finally exited the gate as he warned Ti-Su and the rest of the team not to push too hard. The frantic Ki Yeonju make her appearance. Yeonju, along with BKHWA Yeon, had been searching for Kang Wu after he contacted her. They had gathered all the troops they could muster, and Kang Wu nonchalantly laughed off their concern, explaining that he needed to prepare some things. Kang Wu's party was surprised to see that Ki Yeonju, the guild leader of the Red Rose, and BKHWA Yeon of the Hwarang were addressing Kang Wu in such a casual manner. Kang Wu explained that their relationship was not exactly favorable when asked how he knew these two influential figures. Kang Wu's just clouded like that. Yeonju stepped forward and inquired about the people surrounding Kang Wu. Sola introduced herself politely, and Yeonju scrutinized her from head to toe, feeling slightly annoyed by the innocent girl. She's jelly jealous. Yeonju asked about Sola's relationship with Kang Wu, and Sola turned the question back on her, questioning why Yeonju was speaking to Kang Wu as if they were close. Kang Wu intervened, diffusing the tension and reminding everyone that introductions could wait as they had more pressing matters at hand. He instructed his party to find a safe place for the time being, and they complied, leaving Sola feeling somewhat left out. BKHWA Yeon joined the conversation and inquired about the bait. She referred to the object Kang Wu had been on the ground. Kang Wu confirmed that it was indeed the Vice Guild leader, Yeon Hoon, whom he was using as leverage. Kang Wu lifted the bloodied and beaten Yeon Hoon, stating that he was more or less alive. Everyone in the delegation found it hard to believe that the haughty Kim Yeon Hoon had been taken hostage. The My-Year Guild leader would not sit idly by. Yeonju sighed, resigning herself to Kang Woo's plan. She knew that confronting the powerful guild leader of My-Year head-on was, however, she hadn't expected it to happen at that very moment, with little time to gather their forces. Facing the powerhouse with their limited numbers would be challenging. HWA Yeon questioned whether they were acting too hastily, but Kang Woo reassured her confidently. For him, there was no one easier to defeat than someone who charges forward blindly, driven by their loss of rationality. He guaranteed their success, emphasizing the infinite love a father has for his son. Yeonju argued that Kim Yi-yoon wouldn't lose his rationality even if his son was held hostage before him. Doubts about the plan started to emerge. Kang Woo simply urged them to wait and see. Suddenly, a fleet of luxurious vehicles arrived at the scene. The small number of troops Yeonju and HWA Yeon had mustered prepared themselves for the imminent clash. Kim Yi-yoon stepped out of his car, realizing that Yeonju and HWA Yeon were behind the plan. He mocked them for daring to face him with such a small force and questioned whether they believed they would well after pulling off his hostage stunt. Releasing his immense energy, Yi-yoon exerted pressure on everyone present and demanded to know who he had been speaking to earlier. Kang Woo responded casually, catching the guild leader's attention. He waved in the formidable old man, commenting that he looked even better in person. The fury within Yi-yoon could no longer be contained. As he prepared to launch into his speech, Kang Woo tossed the battered son to his father, taunting them and stating that there was no need to thank him. Did he just give the hostage up from the get-go? The guards swiftly caught their young master as Yi-yoon grew increasingly bewildered by this unexpected turn of events. Even Yeonju and HWA Yeon found themselves confused as Kang Woo had just returned their only advantage in the situation. Kang Woo reassured them that there was nothing wrong aside from a few injuries and that he hadn't attached anything dubious. Yi-yoon couldn't help but feel that this was all part of a larger scheme. Kang Woo assured him that he simply wanted the father and son to reunite since Yi-yoon had probably been worried sick. He urged the skeptical Yi-yoon to greet his son, who was likely very concerned about him. As soon as the father called out to his son before him, a sinister smile appeared on Kang Woo's face. Yi-yoon hastily tried to ascertain if his son was all right, but he quickly realized that something had gone horribly wrong. He shook his son, imploring him to say something, anything at all. His beloved son, whom he cherished above all else, looked at him with horror-stricken eyes and asked who he was. Completely clueless and terrified, Yi-yoon's world seemed to crumble as he heard his son ask who he was. The pieces started to come together, and Yu began to comprehend the ordeal his son had endured. Did Kang Woo just scare him so bad that he contracted amnesia? He held Yeon-hoon tightly, trying to remind him that he was his father. Yeon-hoon struggled to break free from Yi-yoon's grasp, still confused about the man insisting he was his father. Panic-stricken, he pleaded to be released by the guards. Kang Woo watched with delight as his plan unfolded, wearing his signature demonic smile. Yi-yoon finally snapped, consumed by rage as he cursed Kang Woo contemptuously.
What's wrong with you, bro? What the heck? You tripping, bro? You tripping!
He gathered energy throughout his entire body, disregarding the guild members around him, while Kang Woo stood unperturbed as if nothing impressive was happening. Yeonju took charge, ordering everyone to step back, especially Kang Woo. Yi-yoon's wrath reached its peak as the members of Mir tried their best to calm their leader down. He couldn't accept what Kang Woo had done to his precious son. In a split second, he rushed forward without regard for anything. Yeonju swiftly activated her own power, preparing for the clash with another ranker. She equipped an intricate arm brace as she tracked Yi-yoon's light and fast movements. She took the initiative and charged forward, matching the speed of the other guild leader. Yi-yoon immediately activated his 9th awakening special ability, his S-ranked steel fortification. Yeonju confronted this unstoppable force with an ability of her own, wielding her legendary armament, the bloodthirsty chain. The two guild leaders of the top-ranked guilds in the nation engaged in an all-out battle, utilizing their strongest cards right from the start. The clash between the two formidable titans ignited as Yeonju wielded her blood-red legendary chains and Yi-yoon emanated pure strength energy. His golden aura erupted while he vehemently demanded her removal from his path. An explosion ensued when fist and chains collided instantly. Most of her chains were obliterated, yet she remained unscathed, preparing a counterattack from below. With unwavering determination in her eyes, the chain seemed infinite, swiftly ensnaring Yi-yoon's imposing frame mid-attack. The Mir guild leader found himself bound by the legendary chains, his rampage halted.
No! God, please, no! No! No!
This further enraged Yi-yoon, already furious. He straightened every muscle, using raw strength to break free from the blood-red chains, even at the cost of self-injury. His struggle proved effective as he shattered the bindings, seemingly unfazed by the challenge. This man is too angry for crowd control. Yeonju began to panic, realizing how effortlessly he escaped her shackles. Iyun forcefully activated yet another destructive ability. Despair, attempting to strike Yeonju. However, his blows only met the earth as Yeonju expertly evaded, leaving devastation in their wake. Loading up for another assault while Yeonju hovered amidst the debris, Iyun thirsted to forcefully remove her from his path. Fortunately, the valiant Hwaein came to her rescue, charging at Iyun in the blink of an eye with her sword poised for a powerful strike. Her eyes exuded the aura of a battle goddess as she unleashed her whirlwind. A light and mighty swing twisted the air, enveloping Iyun in a stormy spell. As the whirlwind cleared, he emerged with his once fancy clothes torn, bearing visible wind-inflicted cuts all over his body. Iyun appeared as someone who had lost control of the battle, his anger further stoked by the sight of two powerful women teaming up to impede his progress toward Kangwoo. The Demon King silently stood in the background, wearing a taunting smile aimed at the mere guild leader. Iyun's energy soared to new heights as his golden aura pierced the sky. Abandoning all techniques, he relied solely on sheer strength, raising his arms for a brutal strike.
Wei Li has landed several of those inside low kicks.
As his energy struck the ground, the forceful shockwave sent Hwaein tumbling from her position. He followed through and exerted his energy to the limit, propelling her helplessly through the air. Seizing the opportunity created by his destructive force, he charged forward, targeting Yeonju. She readied her legendary chains for round 2. Iyun had long lost his patience. His sole desire was to mow down anyone standing in his way to reach his target. Yeonju pushed her powers to the utmost limit, activating the chain's spear. Countless sharp spears materialized, piercing the raging Iyun. The mystical spears tore through his flesh, momentarily halting his rampage. Yet, the wild, golden energy within Iyun proved too erratic to be completely subdued. He endured the strikes and retaliated, sending Yeonju flying as the legendary chains dematerialized. This old-timer has the best bruiser build in the game. Yeonju was taken aback by the man's sheer brute force, charging through her defenses with no tricks or abilities. However, she refused to let this be the end of their exchange, summoning another batch of blood-red chains. Landing behind the formidable figure of the mere guild leader, her chains swiftly entwined him, chain spears anchoring through his flesh to reinforce the binding this time. She exerted every ounce of her strength to resist Iyun's primal force as he attempted to drag her and her chains along in his charge. Yeonju remained determined and optimistic, recognizing that despite Kim Iyun's immense power, he was still just a ranker like her. She knew she had to continue inflicting damage. Yeonju understood that the damage she had inflicted so far would be easily shrugged off by this man. However, the furious old man regarded these chains as mere petty tricks in the face of his raw force. Meanwhile, Hwaein, struggling to recover from the impact she had endured, realized that all they needed was a single critical hit. Iyun resembled a war deity, struggling to break free from the chains that bound him. Yeonju could hardly believe her eyes as she witnessed the chains gradually snapping one by one. He was too enraged and too powerful to be restrained by a legendary armament. They must interrupt this man immediately. With each chain spear extracted from his body by hand, Iyun fixed his gaze on the source of all these events, Kangwoo, who met his gaze with a smug expression seemingly undeterred by the mere guild leader's display of strength. With his goal temptingly close, Iyun embarked on his final charge. He had relinquished all reason, blindly propelling himself forward, just as Kangwoo had planned. The beast of a man raised his fist for the most savage punch yet, only to be halted by a blade penetrating his stomach. The damage was swift, causing his organs to crumble beneath the sword's impact. Hwaein seized the long-awaited opportunity and delivered a critical strike from behind. She gave a sigh of relief, certain that this would conclude the battle. The mere guild members lamented the sight of their leader, gravely stabbed in the back, while Yeomhoon remained a disoriented mess in their grasp. Finally, Hwaein withdrew her blade, delivering the blow that would bring an end to the conflict. Iyun strained to remain on his feet. Yet even this proved to be an arduous challenge in his current condition. Despite being gravely wounded, he stood upright, trembling in pain. Hwaein and Yeonju watched as he took a few staggering steps forward. Walking unsteadily, coughing in agony, he gave his all to reach the man he despised most at that very moment, Kangwoo. A feeble punch, devoid of any strength, aimed to strike the motionless Demon King. But before he could even reach Kangwoo, he crumbled to his knees, his injuries finally overcoming him. Kang Woo, with a mocking smile, seized the mere guild leader by his hair and posed a rhetorical question, asking if Yi Yun finally recognized who he truly was after all that had transpired. Destroying a rankered guild leader without moving a single inch. That's a flex. A few hours later, the H-Warring Court headquarters, Yeonju and Kang Woo found themselves engaged in a conversation fraught with tension. Yeonju demanded an explanation from Kang Woo about what he had done to Kim Young-hoon. Notionally, he admitted to tweaking the scoundrel's memories as if it were a trivial matter. With a touch of arrogance, Kang Woo boasted about his diverse talents when questioned about his terrifying abilities. Yeonju insisted that mere talent couldn't explain such powers and urged him to be honest. This time, he addressed her sincerely, using her name. He explained that she didn't need to know and understand everything about him. Their connection was simply an exchange of assistance. She helped him, and he returned the favor. He's a businessman through and through. The only thing that truly mattered was eradicating the malevolent organization that had inflicted so much damage on the guild leader. Kang Woo skillfully appealed to Yeonju's anger, using it as a compelling reason to continue their cooperation. Extending his hand as a symbol of renewed partnership, Kang Woo suggested they shake on it. In her thoughts, Yeonju knew that she shouldn't have allowed the dangerous beast known as Kang Woo to grow into her care. However, it was too late for regrets. She was in too deep, so she reached out her hand, and they sealed their renewed arrangement with a firm handshake. And just like that, the leader of the Red Rose Guild forged a deal with the literal devil. Once a formidable figure, Kim Yi-yoon now found himself imprisoned at the H-Warring Corp base camp. Various magical talismans sealed his immense powers as he faced interrogation. He faced a barrage of questions about his involvement with the demonic order. When did it all begin? What is his summon? Who is the mysterious figure behind the crimson mask? To these inquiries, he simply responded with a mocking grin. Baek H-Ween's patience was wearing thin as the wily old man guarded his secrets closely. Kim Yi-yoon was no longer the CEO of Mir Electronics or the guild leader of Mir Guild. Now, he was nothing more than a criminal connected to the deranged cult. No company, no guild, no hose, no drip. When asked if he would spill his guts in the room, he insulted the H-Warring Corps, labeling them as mere dogs of the government. They were loyal mutts, obeying their master's commands. He challenged them to think about how many members of the assembly and the government were connected to him. He proclaimed himself as the puppeteer, holding their lives in his hands. Before he could unleash another insult at H-Ween, a crimson chain struck him once again. The legendary armament swiftly coiled around his neck, choking him. It was now Yeonju's turn to interrogate him. The already injured old man struggled to breathe within the confines of his restraints. Yeonju, driven by her hot-headedness, couldn't help but unleash her anger on the man responsible for the loss of her guild members' lives. H-Ween hurriedly tried to calm her down, aware that they couldn't afford to let the old man die. Yi-yoon laughed defiantly at his captors, warning them of their impending defeat. They couldn't fathom the true scale of the demonic order and its grand plans. As Yeonju's temper reached its peak, Kang Woo intervened, praising the two women for their interrogation skills and suggesting they step back for now. Let the master interrogate her cook. It was his turn to face Kim Yi-yoon. The old man glared at him with contempt and anger. He warned Kang Woo that his intervention wouldn't change anything. He vowed never to tell Kang Woo anything. However, Kang Woo begged to differ. He insisted that eventually, Yi-yoon would have to tell him everything. Just as Yi-yoon was about to vehemently reject this idea, he casually mentioned that he could restore Yeon-hoon. Those words struck a chord deep within the heart of the caring father. Kang Woo presented Yi-yoon with an offer that he couldn't refuse. He proposed to restore his beloved son to his former self. The devil's temptation proved too hard to resist as Kang Woo urged Kim Yi-yoon to divulge all he knew about the demonic order, almost as if he had gone truly insane. The old man began to laugh at this unexpected turn of events. He giggled like a child as Kang Woo finally broke his psyche. Even Yeonju and Ho-yeon watched this interaction with bated breath. Kim Yi-yoon vehemently cursed the cruel Kang Woo, wishing for him to descend into the depths of hell no matter what. Kang Woo listened to this fiery curse, thoroughly amused and coy, for he had already experienced that and more. Yi-yoon began to divulge everything he knew about the demonic order in a calm manner. It turned out that he had encountered a man 8 months ago, confirmed to be the one behind the crimson mask. However, he remained unaware of the true identity lurking beneath that sinister cover. Taking note of this revelation, Kang Woo urged him to continue speaking. Yi-yoon confessed that he had received an offer to provide resources to the order for their ceremony. In return, they promised to transform him into a devil. Yeonju listened in disbelief as Yi-yoon admitted to accepting such an outrageous deal. But the old man countered, claiming she spoke from ignorance, unaware of the true nature of devils. According to Yi-yoon, devils lived eternally. As long as their necks remained intact and their hearts didn't explode, they could exist indefinitely without aging, their minds preserved while desires intensified. Hwang questioned why he believed in eternal life from such a dubious source. Iyun revealed that it was because the demonic order had existed for over 1,000 years, a revelation that caught everyone off guard. He continued, disclosing that their history stretched even further back. They had been silently expanding their forces and influence, hiding in the shadows all over the world. However, they had only recently become active. Illuminati confirmed. Kang Wu contemplated this new information, realizing that the group's origins predated his initial assumptions. He understood that uprooting them would prove more challenging than he initially thought. Iyun confessed to kidnapping players in pursuit of eternal life. Yeonju berated him, considering him crazy for resorting to such insane measures just to claim to his own existence. The old man laughed at her sentiment and her lack of understanding. He explained that the physical body of a devil retained the mind while amplifying desires. This ensured a perpetual thirst for life, eternal youth, and unwavering vitality. He believed it to be the greatest existence. Rich people are always on the eternal life grind. Yeonju refused to entertain the nonsensical ideas he championed. However, Kim Yi-yoon remained certain of the possibility. He was not one to gamble on uncertainties. Now they could understand how the demonic order was effectively recruiting members left and right. In Kang Wu's mind, he knew it was all nonsense. Living with an insatiable, burning desire wasn't pleasurable at all. He had experienced firsthand the agonizing torment that it brought, worse than anything else in the world. Now he realized that the scoundrels had no real understanding of the devils either. Iyun continued his confession, revealing that he had supplied the order with sacrifices and allowed some of his guild members to accept demonic energy during the ceremonies. He explained that demonic energy was akin to mana but drawn from the depths of hell. When asked if he had embraced it himself, he admitted that he hadn't yet. According to the Crimson Mask, further preparations were required for his complete transformation into a devil. If he were to accept demonic energy immediately, he might turn into a mindless monster. He had only allowed his guild members to undergo the ceremony to gain instant power, using them as disposable pawns. When asked about the order's intended summoning, he confessed it was a demon. He didn't know the specifics of the summoning or its location, but the order believed that the weakening dimensional wall approximately a month ago had made it possible. Kang Wu listened to this revelation, his body covered in a cold sweat. Iyun's words left him in a state of shock, as he realized that everything that was happening was a consequence of his actions. He reminisced about the day he crossed over to Earth, a pivotal moment when the demonic order's rise commenced, due to his unintended breaking of the Gaia system. Kang Wu couldn't hide his overwhelming guilt as he absorbed Iyun's confessions. Searching for a glimmer of hope, he inquired about the status of the weakened dimensional wall, only to receive a resolute response from the old man. It was steadily deteriorating. The dire prospect of demons and monsters uniting, accompanied by the people from the continent of Alinor, infiltrating Earth loomed large in Kang Wu's mind. Despite his internal turmoil, he tried to maintain a composed demeanor outwardly. His go-to-coping mechanism kicked in. He chose not to fret over issues beyond his control. Instead, he resolved to prioritize dealing with the demonic order, seeking information from Yi-yoon. He inquired about the national headquarters of the order and the possible whereabouts of the enigmatic Crimson Masked Man. Unfortunately, all the old man knew was that the location he was aware of might be irrelevant, as the order could have relocated elsewhere by now. It was plausible that they had already completed their preparations for the summoning ritual. Perplexed by the order's motive to target Si-hun when their preparations seemed complete, Yi-yoon had no answers to offer. Yeonju found this ridiculous. In response, Yi-yoon simply stated that their organization operated on a performance-based system. This revelation triggered a realization in Kang Wu's mind. It indicated that there wasn't just one guild, like extended much further. In a dimly lit chamber, crimson-masked cultists reported the events concerning Kim Yi-yoon to a revered figure known as the Cardinal, his face adorned with a star-studded crimson mask. The Cardinal expressed disappointment in the mere guild leader, expecting him to be of greater use only to witness his swift defeat. The cultists reassured him that they had enough support from other guilds, minimizing any delays in their grand scheme. Within the Cardinal's involvement of Yi-yoon, leading to his downfall, seemed incomprehensible. He attributed it to the influence of the man depicted in the orb recordings, Kang Wu. Casually, he inquired about the progress of their plan. They confirmed the readiness of a demonic crystal containing suppressed demonic energy, possessing enough power to amplify the Cardinal's abilities and execute their plan. That looks like a juicy XP boost. Aware that the higher-ups of the demonic order expected them to handle the task independently, the cardinal urged his subordinates to expedite their plan, specifically mentioning the initiation of El Cuero. Outside the Huarang headquarters, the three collaborators convened. It seemed they were back at square one, requiring further investigation into other guilds. Nonetheless, the wealth of results and information they obtained marked a significant step in the right direction. Huai relayed the news that the government intended to reward Kang Wu for the mission's success. They acknowledged his role in effectively dealing with a mere guild, promising a reward. Kang Wu would half-jokingly express his hope that it wouldn't be a meaningless trophy or plaque, but Huai reassured him, dismissing any such concerns. She promised to contact him soon with details about the reward, encouraging him to maintain high expectations. Huai's unwavering enthusiasm suggested that the reward held considerable significance, even in the eyes of the usually stoic Beak Huai. After concluding his business at Huarang Corps headquarters, Kang Wu hurriedly returned home to their apartment. As he stepped through the door, he was greeted by a concerned Sola and an eager Echidna. Echidna's eyes welled up with tears, having missed Kang Wu's presence since he began tailing Si-hun for the mission. Apologetically, Kang Wu consoled his teary-eyed familiar, admitting that he had been absent for far too long. Feeling responsible for leaving her alone, Echidna even believed it was her fault, promising to behave better to prevent Kang Wu from leaving her again. With a reassuring embrace, Kang Wu insisted that it wasn't her fault at all, assuring her that he would never abandon her. However, he couldn't shake the guilt of leaving his young companion alone for an extended period. She had recently overcome her loneliness, and he had failed to provide her with constant care for a whole week. This reunion is too precious. Cradling his familiar in his arms, Kang Wu reassured Sola that everything had been taken care of. He also apologized for not providing a more detailed explanation earlier. Understanding Kang Wu's care and concern, she assured him that it didn't bother her. She firmly believed that he genuinely cared for them, rushing off any inconvenience caused. Kang Wu was deeply touched by her profound understanding and support. Uncertain whether Kang Wu had eaten at such a late hour, Sola took the initiative and prepared his favorite kimchi stew, eliciting an even brighter smile from him. Observing the mouth-watering meal before him, Kang Wu couldn't help but reaffirm that Sola was truly an angel in his life. This is a ship that I would fight for. The following day, Kang Wu and the rest of the party gathered around Si-hun's hospital bed, where he was recuperating. Kang Wu explained that as soon as he heard the rumors surrounding Si-hun, he began monitoring him, anticipating the involvement of the demonic order. Curious about the origin of those rumors, Si-hun asked, but Kang Wu cleverly reasoned that the player's world was relatively small and with genuinely talented individuals in their party, rumors were bound to surface. Internally, Kang Wu justified his response, believing he hadn't completely lied to them. Sola, however, questioned why he hadn't informed them beforehand. Her pain expression conveyed her concerns that Kang Wu was keeping secrets, which she understood were meant to protect them. Still, she feared they were growing distant due to his increasing secrecy. Sincerely apologizing for causing worry to Sola and the entire party, Kang Wu took full responsibility for his actions. He acknowledged that she had every right to voice her feelings. Deep in his heart, he considered Sola as family and he had let her down. He earnestly declared that he couldn't guarantee such incidents wouldn't happen again, but he would do utmost to alleviate their worries. Sola mumbled something under her breath, catching Kang Wu's attention. With determination, she requested him to speak to her more casually, just as he did with Choi Yeonju. Surprised by her sensitivity to such small details, Kang Wu hadn't expected her to be bothered by it. On the other side of the bed, the rest of the team observed their interaction, treating it as if they were witnessing an Oscar-worthy romantic comedy movie. They're just like me, for real. Timidly, their fingers brushed and Kang Wu timidly addressed Sola in a more casual manner, blushing. She insisted that she felt more comfortable with this approach. Growing impatient with their exchange, Akita positioned herself between them, playfully urging Kang Wu to peel a fruit that was already peeled. Returning to the main topic, Si-hun apologized for interrupting the moment as he got something to ask Kang Wu. He inquired the fate of the father and son duo. Kang Wu casually stated that they would be condemned to rot in jail for the rest of their lives, guaranteeing that there was no possibility of their release. Their actions were unforgivable, regardless of any amount of money they could offer. The Mir Electronics company had also been shaken due to this incident. While unintentional, Kang Wu confessed that he was aware of Si-hun's and his mother's debt problem, resulting from Kim Yi-yoon's interference, assuring Si-hun that they would be adequately compensated. He added that he would use his influence to arrange for his mother's transfer to an advanced facility. Sikud's spirit soared upon hearing this. The weight on his shoulders seemed to dissipate, and tears welled up as he wholeheartedly thanked Kang Woo. Witnessing Kang Woo's actions, the other party members were deeply moved. Sivan gratefully regarded Kang Woo as his personal savior. He expressed that meeting Kang Woo had been the luckiest moment of his life. Like Tisu, he pledged to serve Kang Woo as his honorary older brother. Sivan's heartfelt vulnerability only intensified Kang Woo's guilt for his previous actions. Witnessing Sivan's unwavering conviction, Kang Woo found himself at a loss for words. Since he was intent on treating Kang Woo as an older brother, Kang Woo would just address him casually as well. With that in mind, he mustered the courage to reveal something he had been hiding from everyone all this time, something that he could finally share with utmost sincerity. As rumors had suggested, his first awakening had unlocked a special ability, one of extraordinary caliber known as the Descendant of the Martial Arts God, an awe-inspiring SSS-ranked power. Though limited by his current low level, it held the promise of accessing the incredible abilities of the martial god. Chun Ty. The party was taken aback by this revelation, coming from their own swordsman. Kang Woo, however, remained unperturbed, having known about this since their very first hunt. Sivan proceeded to share that his awakening message as a player differed from everyone else's. It informed him that, due to a malfunction in the Gaia system, he had been chosen as the protector. This statement piqued Kang Woo's interest, as even the accomplished ranker Cha Yeonju had never heard of the Gaia system. When asked about the date of his awakening, Sivan simply responded, May 22nd. Sol-Ah noted that this was also the day she and Kang Woo had met inside the gate. Now certain that Sivan's awakening was the cause of the Gaia system malfunction that day, Kang Woo realized that Sivan might hold the key to restoring the system if the protector had appeared to rectify his own actions. So Kang Woo is the virus and Sivan is McAfee. Yoonbi praised him as the hero of the world, but he modestly cringed at the designation. Kang Woo had already been convinced that Sivan, his subordinate, was the main character of his own story. However, this newfound information made it clear that Sivan held far greater importance than Kang Woo had initially imagined. In his twisted mind, this further affirmed that making Sivan his subordinate had been a wise decision. Rising to his feet, Kang Woo advised Sivan to rest until fully recovered, announcing his departure from the group. But Sivan, filled with eagerness, grabbed Kang Woo's shirt, seemingly reluctant to see him go. Kang Woo, not wanting to disturb Sivan's rest, remained confused of the unfolding events at that very moment. With sincerity in his eyes, the handsome young man pleaded for Kang Woo to stay just a little. Are we changing to a vastly different genre? An inkling of the situation began to form in Kang Woo's mind. Even Echidna expressed her desire to accompany him if he were to leave. It was said that subordinates and familiars naturally gravitated toward their masters. However, Kang Woo couldn't shake off the uneasiness he felt regarding Sivan. His fight-or-flight response kicked in as he swiftly decided to leave the hospital. Jumping through the balcony of the highest floor, eager to escape from something he wanted no part in. Once again, they found themselves at the S-ranked gate, embarking on another arduous battle. Ferocious giant ogres snarled and charged, fixated on their target. Today, it was Echidna's turn to face these savage beasts. With a swift motion, she cast her formidable Dark Storm spell. The dark magical wind sliced through the ogres' bodies like an onslaught of powerful blades. Following his familiars' devastating initiation, Kang Woo appeared out of nowhere, wielding the authority of the Iron Axe, an imposing battle axe with an ominous hue and razor-sharp edges. Infusing his already formidable weapon with an additional power, Kang Woo coated the blade of his massive battle axe with a cold essence of the authority of frost. His deadly combination granted him the powerful S-rank skill, Leviathan. In a sweeping motion, he unleashed his Leviathan, slashing both giant ogres simultaneously. Massive wounds opened on the monsters' stomachs, emanating a demonic chill that coursed through their colossal bodies. Kang Woo and Echidna swiftly shattered the frozen ogres, earning valuable experience points and raising Kang Woo's level by 1, wiping the sweat from his brow. He grumbled about the demanding the grind really is. Having reached level 50, Kang Woo unlocked his 6th awakening, filling him with anticipation to unveil his newly acquired special ability. However, the ability's name and rank were shrouded in mystery, marked only by question marks. It was stated that the ability would only be fully revealed upon reaching the realm of extreme demonic delay. Dejected by yet another ability he couldn't utilize, Kang Woo felt a sense of hopelessness. He had no clue about the conditions required for extreme demonic delay, leaving him unsure of how to proceed. The clueless Echidna was quick to approach her master as she worries that the disappointed Kang Woo might be too tired from the fight. With a bitter laugh, Kang Woo reassured his familiar that he was fine. Just then, a communication orb in his pocket illuminated, indicating Sala's call from outside the gate. Sala updated Kang Woo on the progress of their move, mentioning that they were almost done, and he could come home. In a grand high-rise apartment complex, the trio found themselves inside their new unit. Sala couldn't help but feel a bit out of place in such luxurious surroundings while the Echidna reveled in the newfound spaciousness, delighted with her new nest. Kang Woo assured Sala that he wouldn't want to live in such a vast apartment alone, emphasizing that they were family. Timidly, Sala once again expressed her reservations about accepting such extravagance from Kang Woo. He reasoned that the Red Rose Guild was covering all the expenses, so she needn't worry. However, the mention of the Red Rose Guild immediately brought Yeonju to Sala's mind, leaving her feeling gloomy. She couldn't fathom how Ki Yeonju could afford to lavish such luxuries on Kang Woo so effortlessly, fueling her frustration. The gap in her level at this aspect was undeniable. As Echidna inquired about their plans for the following day, Kang Woo revealed that they had no scheduled activities and were free. Sala's interest was piqued. Shyly, Echidna proposed doing something together, considering that Kang Woo has free time. He agreed, glad to finally have the opportunity to enjoy leisurely activities with his lively little dragon. Sala chimed in, expressing her desire to join them as well. The next day dawned and the trio set off for the mall. Sala dressed Echidna in adorable clothes and costumes, relishing their joyous moments together. They took numerous pictures, capturing their precious memories. Kang Woo couldn't help but watching the endearing bond between Sala and Echidna grow stronger. He was initially worried that Echidna would shy away from other people and only depend on him. But with Sala around, she's adapting to human life with no problem. His free day unexpectedly turned into an exhausting ordeal. Little did he know that accompanying them on a shopping trip meant assuming the role of their designated bag carrier, a laborious task he hadn't anticipated. Bro was more exhausted from fighting demons. Kang Woo, laden with shopping bags all over his body, gazed upwards and beheld a sight resembling heaven itself. Unbelievably, within the mall's food court, he discovered the freedom to indulge in any culinary delight his heart desired. Sala found Kang Woo's childlike wonder endearing, as if he were a kid stepping into a food court for the very first time. She explained that while it may not be an extraordinary place, it still offered a diverse array of delectable dishes. Kang Woo's eyes widened at the sight of every imaginable type of food being prepared, instantly captivating him with the brilliance of the food court. If this is an ad for a food court, it's working. Amidst the whirlwind of recent events, Kang Woo had almost forgotten the purpose behind his return to Earth. All he desired was to immerse himself in endless play and savor every mouth-watering delicacy possible. With great enthusiasm, he proceeded to order everything on the menu, from item number 1 to 168, even going so far as to add 10 bowls of kimchi stew from each establishment serving the dish. Sala struggled to remain in Kang Woo's overwhelming excitement. Finally, their orders arrived, presenting an impressive spread of culinary delights before the trio. Kang Woo resembled a ravenous dog, eagerly preparing to embark on a feast of epic proportions. Naturally, he began with his favorite, the kimchi stew. Taking the first bite, he quickly realized that it didn't quite match the exquisite flavor of Sala's home-cooked version. However, what a lack in quality made up for in sheer variety. In a burst of culinary experimentation, he grabbed a slice of pizza and dunked it into the kimchi stew like a madman. To his surprise, the combination proved even more delicious than anticipated. Low-key kind of wanted to try this.
Till it's cool, just cool, into the mouth. Nice.
This discovery spurred Kang Woo to explore further combinations on the table. Sala had made a wise decision to shield the young, impressionable Echidna from witnessing Kang Woo's indiscriminate mixing and matching. She couldn't allow the child to witness such a culinary travesty. Kang Woo savored a spoonful of his self-created medley, reveling in the delightful amalgamation of flavors. At that moment, a voice of enthusiasm resonated from afar, expressing admiration for Kang Woo's adventurous eating at the food court. The voice belonged to none other than Korea's top-ranked player, the leader of Hanoi Guild, Baek Kang-yeon. He greeted Kang Woo with genuine warmth, as if they were long-lost brothers reunited. When asked about the unexpected presence of such a prominent figure in a ramen mall food court, Baek Kang-yeon skillfully redirected the conversation, urging Kang Woo to speak casually. He stated that he had good news to share and encouraged them to consider Kang Woo a rookie associated with the Red Rose Guild. Kang Wu corrected him, mentioning that he didn't belong to the guild entirely and were merely cooperating. With this clarification, the conversation became much easier. Beak Kang Yon looked Kang Wu straight in the eye, addressing him sincerely as a brother. The nation's top-ranked player earnestly extended an invitation for Kang Wu to join his guild. He boldly offered a sum of $5 billion won, along with a car and a house. He promised to provide Kang Wu with everything he currently possessed and more. To sweeten the deal, he even proposed an executive position from the get-go, casually opening a can of soda. Kang Wu calmly replied that while he had high expectations, the offer fell short. Kang Yam was taken aback by Kang Wu's audacity, but his interest was further piqued. He burst into laughter, amused that such a lavish offer failed to sway the rookie. Directly confronting Kang Wu, he inquired about the conditions that would satisfy him. However, Kang Wu had no intention of working under anyone at the moment, regardless of the terms laid before him. That's when the Hanol guild leader presented a counteroffer. If Kang Wu joined their guild, he would bestow upon him a single legendary equipment free of charge. Legendary equipment were exceptionally rare items that could not be simply purchased with money. Such equipment was forged from materials obtained exclusively from boss monsters in S-rank gates or higher. Furthermore, once the bond between the equipment and its owner was established, no one else could use it. Legendary armaments often rejected potential owners due to the demanding requirements for the bond to form, making them difficult to obtain even with tremendous effort. Most importantly, these armaments maximize all the user's stats. With this incredibly generous offer, Kang Yun was pleased to observe Kang Wu's growing interest. While Kang Wu found the offer tempting, he ultimately refused as the equipment's inability to enhance his demonic energy rendered it meaningless to him. Kang Yun simply laughed it off as he had anticipated such a response. He rose to take his leave, sliding his contact card towards Kang Wu, just in case he changed his mind. Before departing, he playfully mixed another dish into Kang Wu's already unrecognizable meal, claiming that it embodied the true essence of flavor. The Hanoi guild leader cheerfully bid them farewell, while Sola did her best to shield Echidna from witnessing such appalling food etiquette. Kang Wu stared at his plate, unable to shake off his intrigue toward the enigmatic figure known as Beak Kang Yun. He does have immaculate bro vibes. A few hours later, at the headquarters of the H-Warring Corps, Yeonju and Kang Wu found themselves engaged in another conversation. Kang Wu shared his encounter with a top-ranked player, and Yeonju couldn't fathom why he would turn down a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Kang Wu simply didn't wish to be under someone's command at the moment. Yeonju struggled to comprehend just how unconventional Kang Wu's thinking was. Continuing the discussion, Kang Wu inquired if she had any insider information about the top-ranked Beak Kang Yun. Given their frequent interactions as leaders of top guilds, she naturally possessed some knowledge. She stated that based on Kang Yun's demeanor alone, he was a wild card. However, Kang Wu yearned for juicier rumors about the renowned ranker. Yeonju recollected a time when Kang Yun had become enraged. It happened during the world ranker evaluations, where he was anticipated to become the first potential world ranker in the country. Yet, he suffered a tragic defeat at the hands of another ranker and was subsequently disqualified. When asked who had bested Kang Yun, she revealed that it was a Japanese ranker named Fujimoto Ryoma, the owner of the mythical weapon known as Susanoo's Eye. Following that defeat, the media's opinion of Korea's #1 player had become less favorable. As far as Yeonju knew, that was the sole rumor surrounding him. Kang Wu pondered whether he would face any backlash for rejecting Kang Yun's offer, but Yeonju assured him that the man was not the type to hold grudges. If anything, Kang Yun would simply laugh it off. Finally, the duo arrived at their destination, where they were warmly greeted by a smiling she invited them into a secure facility, explaining that during their investigation of the Mir Guild, they had stumbled upon an item yet to establish a bond with anyone. YN had fought against resistance from higher-ups to secure this item, knowing it would be the perfect reward. Kang Wu's eyes landed on the Black Pearl Coat, a legendary ranked piece of equipment with exceptional defensive stats. It possessed a remarkable special function called Kraken's Wrath, a skill that doubled all stats for 1 minute with a 2-hour cooldown. This stylish trench coat exuded both battle readiness and fashion. This is the much-awaited drip upgrade. YN and Yeonju privately discussed their doubts regarding the skill's effectiveness, but they acknowledged that if a player with inherent stats wore it, the story would be different. Kang Wu found himself twistedly in love at first sight with this perfect item that just landed on his lap. Yeonju didn't expect that Kang Wu was an inherent stat user, but considering his monstrous growth, it's nothing strange. Out of all the legendary equipment out there, this is the best of the best when it comes to inherent stat users. He truly loves this beautiful equipment. He thanked Yan sincerely as he promised to continue actively approving the demonic order. She's also glad that the legendary equipment has met the right owner. He didn't waste a second as he equipped the coat. The dapper-looking Kang Wu was notified that the imprinting ceremony for the Black Pearl coat has started. It quickly recognized him as a suitable player as his stats were scanned to optimize the coat's status effects. It identified his inherent demonic energy and increased it by 5. The imprinting ceremony was completed without a fuss as Kang Wu felt a new surge of massive strength in his body. The drip is secured. When asked how it feels, he greedily asked if he could have 10 more of this armament. It turns out that legendary equipment has a 5-item cap. Anything more than that will be invalidated. Kang Wu was extremely pleased with the massive loot that he just scored. He's all smiles in front of the two ladies. Yanju then proposed to check just how much stronger he has gotten. With a serious expression, she challenged Kang Wu to a fight. Huan brought them to a state-of-the-art combat room, boasting that it would not budge under normal battle circumstances as it was especially built to withstand that. The two calmly took their positions as Yanju wonders just how powerful Kang Wu truly is. She thought back to his battle with his commander-in-chief and she knew that his strength was not just a matter of monstrous growth. She knows that he has something special that surpasses levels and stats. She needs to use this opportunity to identify what that is. Kang Wu was pleased with this arrangement as Yanju is the perfect partner to test out how strong he has truly become. And he's also curious as to how much this three-way alliance will provide for him. They ready their stance and as soon as Huan signaled the start, Kang Wu charged ruthlessly with his fist ready to land the first blow. Yanju unsurprisingly dodged to the side in a skillful manner. She swiftly readied her own fist for a brutal counterattack. But Kang Wu simply dodged just like how she did. She lets out a stealthy knee strike coming from below, but he caught it with both hands effectively. Yanju unleashed another punch aimed squarely at Kang Wu's face, but it was met with a cross block. They are starting this battle with a contest of close combat skills. This type of battle is annoying Kang Wu. With a quick slip to the side, he readies a punch that barely grazed the guild leader's face. But the punch was a feat, and his true target was her hat. He pulled down her signature hat as he remarks that this will only get in their way. Yanju angrily responded with a punch as she activates the legendary bloodthirsty chains. It seems like she's not fooling around with her strikes now. She remarked that since he's not a regular player, regular combat does not suit him. The bloodthirsty chains were proving to be quite tricky to handle for Kang Wu. She brandished it forcefully and swiped through the reinforced walls. She's like a psychopath waving the destructive chains around as Kang Wu watched for strikes carefully. State-of-the-art walls, by the way. With a downward swing of the shackles, Kang Wu was pushed back as he activated the authority of Sky to counteract the force. Without hesitation, he activated his newfound equipment's special ability, the Kraken's Wrath, increasing his demonic energy by 5. The unfazed Yanju materialized even more chains as she charged towards the powered-up Kang Wu. He calmly assessed her rampaging attacks as Wei Young was beginning to freak out with regards to this supposed spar. Kang Wu flew close to the walls as Yanju chased him with countless missing chain stabs. He deactivated the authority of the Sky falling into the ground, only to turn on again to bait out a wide chain swing. She hurriedly tried to gather defenses as the in-flight Kang Wu rushed towards her relentlessly this time around. With much more potent demonic energy, he slid amongst the sharp chains of the powerful rancor. When he got inside his striking distance, he activated the authority of explosion in point-blank range. A massive detonation sent Yanju and her chains away. The burst cleared out and she expects Kang Wu to charge, but he was already behind her. With a resounding clap, he commanded the authority of sound. The whole compound shook in his booming ability. Yanju and even the referee Huan felt as if their eardrums were about to burst with how loud the clap was. He didn't let the chance go to waste as he rushed for the final strike at the stunned Yanju. He called out to the authority of Thousand as he resembled a demonic god with how concentrated his demonic energy is. To ensure victory, he even activated the authority of destruction in the same fist. Yanju knew that she could not dodge this time around. She needs to do everything in her power to defend from the monstrous strike that Kang Wu has just loaded. When Kang Wu's strike got close to her, she resigned herself as she's aware that there's no way in hell she can defend against such mighty force. Kang Wu just unleashed his skill, destroying the Sky. To everyone's surprise, he redirected his fist in the last second. Yanju's chains dematerialize as she falls with her legs weak. Kang Wu just punched a bargain two-in hole behind Yanju. She's looking at a genuine monster in the form of a man. With the conclusion of their intense duel, the reign of the Kraken's Wrath also came to an end. Kang Wu experienced an exhilaration he hadn't felt in ages, finally comprehending the obsession people had with legendary rank equipment. To think that he could defeat one of the top rankers in the nation in under a minute. Both he and Yanju could hardly believe it. Extending his hand to the defeated Yanju, Kang Wu attributed his victory to his newfound legendary equipment. As she accepted his hand, rising to her feet, an entertaining thought crossed her mind. Perhaps Kang Wu was more than human. He playfully dismissed the notion, reminding her to be grateful they were not enemies. Engrossed in their post-battle banter, their amusement was abruptly interrupted by the stern Huiyan, who scolded them for obliterating the outrageously expensive sparring room. In an instant, millions of dollars of civilian taxes went up in smoke. That was an expensive punch. Embarrassed and nervous, the duo faced the magnitude of the destruction they had caused. Huiyan continued to chastise them as if they were unruly children unable to contain their hyper-energy. Huiyan reported the damages to her superiors, while Kang Wu and Yanju shifted the blame onto each other for the wreckage. Absolute brother-sister energy from these two. Already pondering how he could scrape together the funds to repay the damages, Kang Wu contemplated the idea of hunting and selling high-ranking monster mana stones. However, he quickly dismissed it as too time-consuming. That's when a brilliant idea struck him: legendary rank ingredients from formidable monsters. Proposing a simple plan to the two ladies, Kang Wu suggested they embark on a hunt for El Cuero. He was referring to the boss monster of the S-ranked gate, a creature of immense power. However, this boss mom was no ordinary adversary. Residing in the lake of Suwon's S-ranked gate, El Cuero had eluded capture by every player thus far. Its aquatic habitat made close-range attacks nearly impossible, and its exceptional magic resistance and skillful underwater hiding made long-range assaults a daunting challenge. Subjugating it was widely regarded as an insurmountable feat. It's a monster hunter arc not only was successfully hunting it bordering on the impossible, but the monster also didn't guarantee dropping legendary loot. Kang Wu argued that luck could be on their side for that part. Moreover, the quest held significance beyond monetary gain. It could potentially unlock his level restriction. As players advanced in levels, they encountered two formidable walls: the ultimate effort at level 59 and the ultimate talent at level 89. The common method to break through these bottlenecks was to defeat a powerful boss monster and push beyond one's limits. Deeply considering Kang Wu's proposal, Yeonju, who had also reached her ultimate talent wall, realized that her level 89 had just been defeated by Kang Wu's level 59. Deciding to join the mission, she emphasized that the two of them alone wouldn't stand a chance. Kang Wu confidently declared that he already had a plan in mind. All they needed was a skilled close-range class to execute it, prompting Hwam to proudly volunteer herself for the hunt. Since she was the one who had brought them to this point, she felt partly responsible for the situation. Curious about Kang Wu's plan and the necessity of a close-range damage dealer against El Cuero, Hwam couldn't help but inquire. Thus, the party consisting of the three of them, along with Echidna, will embark on the hunt. Kang Wu mused that another close-range class would solidify his plan further, prompting Hwam to call out to him. Realizing they required an additional combatant with close-range prowess, she knew someone perfect for the job. Inside the beautiful S-ranked gate, the serene backdrop provided a stark contrast to Kang Wu. Wielding the authority of blade and slashing through a giant ogre with Echidna providing support from behind. Kang Wu's masterful movements left the giant ogres utterly bewildered. As he dispatched another foe, he finally reached level 59. As expected, he received a notification that his progress was now restricted. Having heard tales of talented players bypassing this restriction, he couldn't help but feel a tinge of disappointment that he hadn't managed the same feat. Sometimes he's just not that guy. It was at this moment that Yanju and Hwam arrived at his hunting grounds, assuring them that he hadn't exerted much strength while grinding giant ogres. Kang Wu put their worries to rest. Hwam formally introduced the final member of their hunting party, a lively, blonde man named Gu Yunmo, the captain of Huarang's squad's second unit. Casually introducing himself, Kang Wu assessed the captain. It became apparent that Yunmo was on par with Hwam in terms of strength, employing a dual sword fighting style. This man might just fit the plan perfectly. He was impressed by Kang Wu's ability to dispatch giant ogres effortlessly, despite being a rookie. He also inquired why a young girl like Echidna ventured into such perilous territory. In response, Kang Wu introduced the timid Echidna as his summoned familiar. Hwam assured Yunmo that she would fill him in on Kang Wu's story later, but for now, all he needed to know was that Kang Wu and Yanju possessed comparable strength. The revelation hit Yunmo like a bolt of lightning. Learning that a player who had awakened only 2 months ago was as formidable as one of the nation's top rankers, he observed Kang Wu and Hwam's casual conversation, his emotions becoming increasingly complicated. Taking Kang Woo aside, he approached him with a bashful question, inquiring about the nature of his relationship with BK. Kang Woo assured him that it was nothing special. It was evident to everyone that the spirited young man harbored an immense crush on the ice-cold HYM. I ship this. Yanju, eager to get back to business, urged them to assume their positions as Alquoro would soon make its appearance. Kang Woo responded that they need not move, as they were already in the designated spot. However, they were currently in the territory of the rock giants. While these monsters were docile, it appeared they couldn't utilize them as bait. Ironically, these colossal creatures formed the cornerstone of their entire plan. And so, Kang Woo commenced his briefing. Enormous nautical chains, anchored at the end, coiled around the sandy beach of the vast lake. With these prepared chains, Kang Woo's signal to initiate the plan was imminent. Are they going full pirate mode? Partially submerged in the lake, gathering demonic energy, he prepared to execute the world's first Alquoro hunt. Stomping on the water's surface, Kang Woo unleashed the authority of sound waves. The sonic force reverberated throughout the lake, reaching a sinister figure lurking in its depths. For a moment, the lake fell into tranquility, interrupted by a colossal wave surging upward, shattering its peace. Kang Woo knew that the monster was coming. The sinister figure, charging at blinding speed, emerged from the depths. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe for more, and share your thoughts in the comments below.